Hello everyone and welcome to the Detail Obsession YouTube channel. This is my first ever voiceover video and today I'm going to be showing you 15 different ways to decorate your blank exterior walls. Hope you enjoy. So for the first trick I'm going to be showing you texturing. This is quite a simple trick, but it really does add a lot to the wall. Here I've just got a gradient from deep slate going all the way up to stone, cobblestone, andesite, granite and tuff in between. Moving on to number 2, we've got our first exterior decoration. This is just a pile of barrels with some composters. I added spruce fence gates, spruce trapdoors and spruce fences to add detail. Obviously use different orientations of the barrels. Use the trapdoors wisely, covering up things you don't want to show, like 2 composters next to each other. This really adds a lot to the build, especially with these fence gates reaching up the side of the build like it's been there for a long time. Moving on to the 2 drain pipe type things we've got over here. The first one is made out of spruce, more for a medieval type build, just spruce going up the side of a build with trapdoors to add more detail. And the second one is more for a dystopian type building with much the same story, but this time I've added walls and lightning rods just because they accent well with the acacia. The next one over is indenting. This is quite a simple technique. You can use walls and stairs to add depth to a wall. Adds the dark spots, especially if you're using shaders, makes it look much better. Sometimes you can use these little 1 pixel depth things just simply by having a block behind them. These don't have a block behind them, but if I do add a block behind it, you've got that little bit more detail, which just adds everything in these type of builds. Looks great, really easy to do, and you could also have accents, contrasts down here, just to make it look that much better. Then you've got cross beams, like these 3. This is quite a simple design. This is slightly more complex design, and that's the most complex design. Obviously you can flip all of these upside down depending on what you need, and you can use any set of stairs and slabs, and preferably trapdoors, but not necessarily. This is great for exteriors and interiors. You could even use this for roofs as roof beams. Very easy to build overall. Some of the trapdoor placements can be a bit finicky, but overall very easy. The next one over is plant balconies. These are quite easy to do too, and add a lot of color and contrast to the build with bright blue pops, and obviously you could use red and magenta and other colors, but in this case we're using blue and a little bit of orange mostly. Looks great. The next one over is this scaffolding thing. It shows that the build is still in a work in progress. Sometimes you can leave it up even after the build is complete. It's just using birch, scaffolding and some beehives. Doesn't look too bad, not my favorite thing to use. I'd much prefer using some of the earlier things to show that the build isn't being worked on. Now we're going to move over into the foliage section. We've got plant pots and general foliage. Plant pots are quite simple. Changing the pots is usually all that you need to fit it into whatever build style you're using. This is more of a modern type thing, this is more of a garden type thing, this is more of a medieval type thing, and this is more of a natural barn type thing. You can obviously change the flowers depending on the theme and build palette. Then we've got the general foliage. We've got a bamboo in the corner. We've got some sugarcane. This is just made by having water behind it, as you can hear. Some small drip leaf, the infamous small drip leaf. We've got some azalea bushes, moss carpet, just adds that little bit more texture. And we've got some flowers to make it pop, and a player head as an azalea bush. That's not necessary, obviously you could use many other things, like just simply a pickle, 2 pickles, adds detail, works fine. Now I'm going to be moving on to 3 slightly more out there designs, but they still work. But the first one is more for a medieval building city type thing. You've got campfires and dark oak fences and trapdoors. The particles are really all you're building this for. just, and the other stuff is just so the particles aren't coming from the ground. Looks great. And you've got this monument statue type thing with the great almighty good times with Sky over here. You can use any blocks for this. Flip also built a really good example of this in his hardcore world. It just looks good and adds a bit more detail and lore to whatever you're building. And then we've got the dystopian pipe mess. I'm not sure what to tell you about this, just spam on anvils, hoppers, observers and droppers and some deep slate walls. Make it look good, make the pipes seem to lead somewhere, even though this just does nothing and is really expensive. Now onto two of my favorite ways to add detail to a build. This is more for a castle or cathedral, and this is more for a small house, but both work in very similar ways. You've got a pillar block on the side, or walls on the side, something in the middle, and then at the back you've got some stripped oak log. In that case you can obviously do this with other woods, and in this case you've got a similar thing, this time with fences at the bottom and at the top, and you could obviously do this with other walls too. So there you go, 15 different build ideas to decorate your plain walls in Minecraft. Hope you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe for more content. Don't forget to ring that infamous notification bell, and I hope to see you in the next video. Adios.